I am troubleshooting this little 20-inch yard machine. Mowers, I get these in a lot. This one was traded in on another mower that I sold. And these are just a really basic little push mower. The wheels are fixed unless you get a socket and a box wrench and begin to take them off and move them up or down. You can change the height, but it's a lot of work. And so I thought I'd spend a little time showing you what I do with these when I get them in. I like the ones like this to cut about 3 inches. And I do that by putting the back wheels on the middle setting of the holes. Is a set of 3 holes, 1, 2, 3 under this. And I put it in the middle. And in the front, then I drop the bolt all the way down to the bottom. So I'm higher in the front than I am in the back. And that way this little mower, when it runs up on a clump of grass or thick grass, you don't just stop and you have to muscle it over it. At least it gives you a little bit of advantage to where it's going to ride up, because it's high in the front over that grass. And then to me, this is using the design of the mower to help you, which is then the blade's turning so fast, it's going to cut that grass that it rode up over, and it's going to cut it again and again and again until it gets to the back. And that's the final cut, and that's the level that you want. And I do all my mowers that way around the house, in my own yard. I always put it higher in the front than it is in the back, and that way it'll ride up over the grass and cut it several times as it goes back. So actually you're helping it in terms of the mulching action too, because it's hitting the blades more, and it's hitting the mulched clippings more. That's my theory on it. Okay, and I've already checked the spark plug on this mower, and it's okay. I've set the gap to 0.30, 0.31 right in there. I'm probably going to have to take the carburetor off. But before I do that, I always like to check the flywheel key, and I'm going to show you how I do that. But this is what tells me that the carburetor is going to have issues, because that is fuel that had ethanol in it already caking up on the outside where the air filter is. So that usually means it's going to be messed up inside. So it's probably got old fuel, because he said it didn't run. If it ran at all, it ran spotty. And so it's probably got old fuel in it, and probably a contaminated carburetor with the ethanol. But before I do any of that, I want to check the flywheel key, because after working on hundreds of lawnmowers, I've learned to, while you've got the cover off, making sure there's no mouse nests or rodent problems under there, which often happens. Clean all that out. Once you've got the cover off, you might as well check the flywheel key, because if anybody's ever hit something with this and it bumps it or shears it enough, it's not going to run right and can hurt you when you pull the cord, because it'll kick back, and that's no fun. I don't like that, so I go ahead and check it while I've got the cover off. So I'm going to do this with one hand, and hopefully you can see what I'm trying to attempt here. I've got an impact wrench. I've cleaned away from that nut a little bit so it'll seat well. So I'm going to get this on there and get it where it's seated here. And there we go. I think you probably heard that. All right, so I'm going to press down with this left hand and photograph at the same time. Let's see if I can get it off with one hand. Okay, that worked. So there's the nut. That's called the cup, the starter cup, and that's the starter cup nut I just took off. So let's look under here, and hopefully this thing's okay and lined up. It is not quite right. I hope you can see that. So I'm gonna take this flywheel off. Let me get a wire brush so you can see that. Hang on a second. And hit a few strokes with that. mean, that might be okay. I'm gonna get right over it. Yeah, that's probably okay. Let's say 99%. I'll look at it some more, but anyway, I just wanted to see. So once I check that, now if this notch here is way over here, and you still see the flywheel key here, then that flywheel key is sheared. And this has to come off and you have to replace that. But this is all lined up. The key here, right there, you can see that is lined up pretty well with the groove on the shaft, which means, and that's the timing of the spark. If you don't have that right, that's how you get the kickback, because it fires at the wrong time and jerks that cord out of your hand. It can really hurt. So now the other thing I'm going to show you on this mower, it's going to be a problem that I'm going to have to fix. Let me come around this side. I just took a glance up under here. I always like to look at the governor spring, and oftentimes people mess with these, and that's what's happened here. You see that? That is not correct. That spring is not installed properly. It's obviously stretched out. So it may work, but I've got some around here, and I'll just put one on there that's correct. And then of course you also want to check, since we're troubleshooting this mower, I'm going to make sure that the kill switch clears when I push this handle down, and it does. See, there's a good gap there. So this mower should start. Sometimes you get these mowers and that cable is messed up and that never clears. And so that mower is never gonna run. It's gotta come all the way out there to run properly. And then you let it go. See, when you wanna stop the mower, it touches that and kills it. So that's just a few things I'm checking on this this mower today. The gap on this coil looks okay. I've already checked the blade and it's fine. I would like to see if they're bent or not. And obviously I'll have to install a discharge chute, which I have around here. I can do that. So that's about it on this one. This thing functions properly. You can see that it's got spring tension and does recoil. So I think we're good here. This is the typical thing I do on one of these simple little mowers. Please subscribe, stay tuned, tell your friends. Bye-bye.